So back again. Thank you so much. We're actually speaking about how the Terminator spoke to John Connor and also Sarah Connor about when Skynet becomes aware, and it happens in 1997. It becomes aware, but in Genisys it becomes aware in 2017.
But remember, in part 2, the Terminator was smashed. I'm sorry, in part 1 the Terminator was smashed, so Cyberdyne system was able to get that technology and then base their research on it. Since that never happened, I guess there was a delay in acquiring enough technology. I guess that's when John Connor had to step into the picture and provide them with the technology info, because they don't have that chip anymore. They don't have the arm and they don't have the chip anymore because that Terminator was never squashed. You see?
But no, they still kept it. Remember where Kyle Reese in Genisys, where he shoots him, he's like, I can't believe I signed up for this.
Yeah, but Cyberdyne never got that chip.
Oh yeah, because they used it to float time machine. So it kind of postponed it, right?
That's what I'm thinking. Now that you're talking about it, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know if that's what was meant to be understood as, but I think it makes sense that since no Terminator was squashed, Cyberdyne never got their hands on it in 1984. Therefore, the creation of Skynet was delayed. Something else had to have happened to kind of
something else had to happen to
progress, and like, okay, it's going to happen 20 years later, not 97, but 2017.
But the thing is that what actually motivated the human race, or motivated the company, not Skynet, the company that created Skynet, Cyberdyne. What motivated Cyberdyne to start programming, to start creating? Because it was the arm that motivated him to start.
Well, that and the chip. Well, basically in the movie, Miles Dyson is actually there, and he said that they did a good thing in hiring John Connor because John Connor had all these good ideas. So I guess they're kind of telling us like it was John Connor that went back in time and provided all the information to get Skynet up and running.
And why would John Connor go back in time? Why didn't
he was already affected? He was already infected as a
no. But the thing is that since Genisys attacked him and affected him, why didn't Genisys go with them back in time?
You know what I just thought of right now? If John Connor is nothing but nanorobots, how did he travel back in time?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Dun dun dun!
Like, how did he do that?
Yeah, it's like, wait a second. If you're all metal,
if you're like, if your entire body has been nanomorphed or nano what?
And the guy actually gets a hole blown through his skull right here. You know, that's a huge chunk of brain to be missing. Yet all of a sudden, the machines are able to regenerate that. From what I understand about science, you know, matter has to be accounted for. So even if for example, if we got some machines here and I kind of swipe them off, if they're not there, I mean, there's going to be a hole there. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's like you don't have machines kind of like, if the machines are going to replicate, then you're going to have to put in some material to provide the resources to fix the damage. But this guy, I don't see him eating. I don't see him, you know, eating metallic chunks. It's like, where is he getting all these natural resources to help rebuild himself? It's like, oh, I lost some robots. No problem. Magically, more are just gonna replicate. So how did he time travel? How does he regenerate himself? Maybe we should just stop.
I guess because, like as we said, this film is, if you have to turn off your brain, you have to, because if you don't, if you just stand there and just think about what's happening, you're going to be lost. You're going to be lost. It's not going to make sense, and you're going to not like the film, and you're going to be like,
it's entertaining.
It's
This is what I tell my friends. Look, go there. As far as going to see the movie, if you want to see it in theaters, get the cheaper showing. It's entertaining, but if you're a fan of the series, don't go looking for something that's really going to expand the story. It's totally writing it. I found it to be not a good choice, but I mean that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Well, one film I definitely recommend you guys watching is Jurassic World. Jurassic World, you have a blast. I had a blast in that film. I had fun in that film. It was great. It was funny. It made more sense than Genisys. Really did. But yeah, that's one of the things that I have to say about Genisys, Terminator Genisys, is I know they're trying to reimagine, or they're trying to, bring freshness and life into a dying series, and they're not doing the best that we want them to do. And I feel like they're cutting corners right and left to the point where you're just left in a loop. You're like, huh, what? That what? You're just like, what was that all about? So if you want to just have a good time, just turn off your brain and just watch a lot of explosions, a lot of Terminators killing each other, different types of Terminators. That's one thing I can definitely say about Genisys, that we had more Terminators in this film that appear in the movie than previous. Before it was
that was cool.
Yeah, previous it was just two, Team 1000 and Terminator the 800 series, and then we had the other what was it, Part 3, which was Rise of the Machines, right?
Yeah, TX versus Arnold.
Yeah, TX versus Arnold.
Of course, we're only talking about infiltrating units. We're not talking about that mini HK jet or that mini tank. We're not counting those. We're just counting like infiltrator, human-like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And in this one, there was the T1000. There was the T800. There was the T3000.
And then Young Arnold.
And also Skynet, which is Genisys. I wouldn't call it a Terminator, but it's the creator of the Terminator. So the father of the Terminators appears. It's Doctor Who. So yeah, that movie. It's not a movie. It's more a TV show, British TV show. So it's Doctor Who. I think it's the 8th or 9th Doctor that appears in the film, and he's Genisys. And what else? The acting is not up to par. Arnold, Arnold, he does Arnold very well. So you're going to get the one-liners, you're going to get the very funny. And one thing I could definitely say, it was a double-edged sword. It was funny, but at the same time it took away. Arnold appears way in the background. The Terminator appears way in the background, and he has a big giant teddy bear. And really destroyed the scene because it was very serious. It's like Kyle Reese barely finds out that John Connor's his son, and it's
Arnold with a huge old teddy.
Exactly, and then you would assume it would be like done in the films where it's like out of nowhere John Connor gets shot from out of nowhere, and then Terminator comes out, like Arnold comes out from the darkness. It's like, oh man, you're the killer, and this is that. No, you just see him in the back walking with a big giant teddy bear, like a blurred out image of Arnold. I mean, and it was hilarious because as soon as it appeared, it felt like a gag reel. It felt like one of those mistakes that they do in films, like cut. We got to do that all over again, and it was funny because
he did a good job.
Yeah, he did a good job. Arnold did a good job.
I think you can still keep doing the Terminators. We need to have it. I'm not sure how they can actually kind of rewrite this series to get it back on track. It's going to require a lot of thinking. I think maybe if the fans spoke up, Rise of the Fans, then maybe they can get it going to where it needs to be. And I think Arnold, especially due to this upgrade, he could still keep doing more Terminators. Like I said, I think it's all in the writing. That's basically what it comes down to. Know your audience, and just I think you need to be in the series to really, I think, do it justice.
Yeah, you have to be a fan of the series, and also you have to collaborate with a lot of the people that worked in the original Terminator series, like Jim Cameron, and also with some of the people who are, you could say, who are not just critics, but they'll tell you the truth. Because sometimes a fan would say, "Oh, this sounds great. This is awesome. This is that." But if you look at the rest of the audience, because you have to understand, the Terminator fans are different from the Terminator's going audience, or the movie going audience. The movie going audience, some of them are lawyers, some of them are doctors, some of them are computer science majors. So they're not, you could say big giant fans, but they know about the film, and they kind of would want to get something to, make them think. Of
course, I could probably already hear somebody saying, well, that's just a small, population. Not everybody's a doctor or lawyer or whatever. And I still think that a lot of people appreciate a well thought out movie. I think that's basically what I'm trying to say in a nutshell. Is I appreciate a movie that's been well thought out. I realize that maybe not all the plot holes may be covered, but I think if you really, really try and you really put a lot of effort into it and you try to stay faithful to the series, then you're going to get a lot more response from the fans.
Exactly, and
ultimately that will produce more money because people will want to see it again. It will be popular, and I think it's a win-win for everybody.
It is a win-win for everybody. Surprisingly, you guys may not know this fact, but when Terminator Genisys came out, it actually was #1 in Turkey, Peru, Venezuela, Russia, and different other parts around the world. So I was shocked because, as we all know, the previous films that came, other than T2 and T1, which were like the best ones, they were just not well. The Rise of the Machine was just not cutting for people. Which is the other one, Terminator Salvation. That's another film that really didn't do also well. So when this one came out, I was surprised. I was shocked that, you know, it was #1 in all these different countries. So you can say that Arnold Schwarzenegger is back. Where he says, "I'll be back." He came back, and it still shows that, you know, people still see him not just as Arnold, but they see him as a Terminator too. So that was pretty.
And Terminator 5.
And Terminator 5, exactly. So he can still do more films, not just the Terminator films, but other films. And I think he still has a little bit left in him to do more films. Me personally, that's my opinion about Arnold. What do you think about that? You think Arnold can do a couple more action films?
Well, I don't know about man, Arnold's my hero. I've been watching his movies since I was a kid, so to me, I'd be like, Arnold, just keep making movies. I think as long as thought out, they'll sell.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, like we said, the acting's not the best. You turn off your brain. There's a lot of plot holes. But hey, if you want to, if you're like a hardcore fan of Terminator series, we do recommend you watching it. It's not as good as T2 at all, but it gets the job. It gets the job done.
I think we got the point across.
Yeah, it gets the job done. You know, it gets the job done. Before we sign off, JB, do you have anything else to say about the film, other than, you know, what we just?
No, I think that pretty much covers it. You know, we realized that our review was probably way lengthier than you probably were thinking of, but I don't know. I just, maybe if enough people kind of started to think about these movies, I don't know, maybe Hollywood will start listening and be like, okay, well, the fans, the people actually want movies that are more well thought through.
Yeah.
Let's start doing that.
Yeah, well, I'm one for that. I definitely like films that make you think, like, you know, well, there's Inception, like Christopher Nolan in Inception. You also have other films like that really kind of speak truth into your life, that really make you think. There's, you know, Pursuit of Happiness. I like that one. There's also To Kill a Mockingbird. Saving Private Ryan. I think that's one of the best Steven Spielberg films that I've seen. Schindler's List that I saw a couple of days ago. It really, you know, put things in perspective when you say, man, I have it bad. I mean, if you've seen the pictures of the Holocaust, or if you've seen Schindler's List, it makes you think, you know what? I don't have it that bad. I really don't. You know, but I like films that don't just have a lot of explosions. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like explosions. I like action. I like saying his one-liners like, "I'll be back," or "Hasta la vista, baby."
Theoretically.
Or theoretically, you know. I like those stuff. But I also want, you know, to inspire people. I want the audience to be like, when they come out, they're like, you know what? That movie didn't just have action, but it had a lot of heart. And it really made me think about a lot of things that I never really thought of before. And that's the type of films that I would like to see more often, you know, in the theaters, and that's my gist. So cool, yeah. Well, thank you so much, guys, for joining us. I really do appreciate it. Jesus to the Middle East, as always, and because they really need it bad.
Gotcha.
You guys have an awesome day, you guys have an awesome day or night or morning, wherever you guys are at. And see you again, okay? Thank you so much.
Hasta la vista.
Baby.
Babies.
Babies. Yes, you, right there.